And we're back after a little break. I had to take a week or so off, just catch my breath, really, and try and figure out, kind of what some new ideas on what I wanted to do with these sketches. Not that we had exhausted all of our ideas with the first 50, but, it's always good to just take some time off and chill the F out. And really, I've always had really interesting and new fun ideas come from these periods of forced vacation, mental vacation, even just a couple of days off. But that, what was originally going to be a few weeks just turned into a week and got cut off short because I ended up getting the invite for Ableton Live 11. And I'm probably the last one on the list. I'm sure they'll release it in full next week or something. But really glad to be able to mess around with this, at least in some capacity, and just see what it has to offer. I've done a lot of reading on it, and you've probably heard me mention a lot about it. And there's so much that we could play around with. But I think that I want to start with the main features that I've been reading about, and just see how those work. Just play around with some. Let's see. The individual note pitches, that was something, and the note probabilities, something that I was like really fascinated with the potentials for. Cool, so here's a basic major chord, and let's see. So I haven't really messed around with Ableton, this beta much yet, so I'm kind of curious what some of the new layout features are going to be. I might be fumbling around in this particular sketch, but okay, so yeah, cool. Looks like we've got note expression, and so we can adjust the bass just by pulling down. I wonder if we hold down Control, if we get like any kind of. It doesn't look like we get any fine tuning of the actual note itself, but I see we've got this interesting little bendy thing. I don't hear anything. So let's see. Maybe there's a new setting. I noticed with the operator they had changed some colors. It looks like, honestly, I'm like, did they do anything else? Not really. It doesn't look like they've added anything. Maybe some new filters? No. Maybe some new LFO shapes? No. Gosh, I wish they would have like a slow random or something in there. So many of their effects needed that before, but okay, so maybe in here there's like a setting. Okay, so maybe we could try a different, let's just try the wavetable, see what we get. Oh, yeah. Wow, that is so cool. That is like really opens up a lot of funky possibilities with that. And I was reading that the Max for Live API opens up the ability to control and edit these microtones per note, which is the potentials are just crazy as far as excuse me, sound design goes. I think that you'll be able to do a whole lot more experimental type stuff, microtone to the nines. Awesome. And then let's see. Maybe I should add a little filter there. That sound is getting a or better yet, let's just jump right into what do we got here? I like the new categorizing. I guess that opens things up to, they can add a whole lot more in there, and it's a little cleaner, I guess. All right, so we've got looks like we've got a convolution section here, and I assume we'll be able to just drag in any sound, any wave file we want. Let's pull in one of our homemade impulses. Let's just try this vocal sample. Ah, that doesn't really, it doesn't want to accept that. Okay, so let's try, I know that when you pull in an OGG file, it creates, for like any MP3 or OGG file or MP4, M4A, it creates a, also FLAC, a WAV file. It converts it into a WAV file and keeps that in your cached folder. So I guess Ableton really only likes to run WAV files, and I think it's probably more efficient that way based on how sound drivers and stuff are set up. So no dice. So I guess, you know, and maybe this is because I'm working with the beta, we don't have that much extra functionality. I know the Max for Live convolution lets you load in the aux. So whatever. I assume we get WAV files. We're allowed to load in WAV files. Okay, so I guess for the sake of this, I'm gonna open up my convolutions folder, and as you can see, it's a hot mess. And this is nothing. I actually have another computer with so many more. Here is some from an old friend, David Last. He posted. Claustrophobia sounds fun. Glass cup, iron bath. Yeah, I guess these were. Yeah, who knows what to expect there. It sounds like we lose a lot of volume. I wonder if we have a volume boost somewhere in here. So this must be, yeah, send in, and then I can see we have a serial setting here. I'm curious what we can MIDI map. Oh wow, we can change the algorithms. We can, what is this this vintage here? Well, that's kind of funky in and of itself, a bit clicky. So for switching MIDI and stuff, I think. Oh wow, we got a feedback in there, which is kind of fun. I suppose if we're messing around with the EQ, I wonder if that feedback is. It looks like, according to this diagram, perhaps this feedback is only with the procedural. I'm guessing this blue section here is for the procedural, the DSP reverb, and then the convolution is, that's cool. We get a light up when we go 100% either way, or interesting. Maybe there's a boost in here. It is convenient. We have a mono for the bass. I guess, you know, you're trying to, vinyl is so popular these days. You got to have that option for monoing some bass. Although I know that's an option in the utility that comes with Ableton. I'm not sure how good that compares to, say, Ozone, which is what I typically use anytime I'm doing mastering for tape or vinyl, or any kind of mastering for that matter. Ozone has just been my go-to for years. What little sounds coming out of there. I guess we could turn the send off, and the freeze is gonna. Well, okay, so I guess no boost there. I mean, it sounds pretty even from what I'm hearing anyway. So okay. I think this is sounding, you know, very loopy, and gosh, I love this. This is such a cool. We're gonna be able to. We're gonna me, Live 11 and me are gonna be good friends for a while here. I'm not gonna be going out much, as if my social life is already shot to shit. Wow, that's. And with Max for Live, we'll be able to probably randomize this kind of stuff. Put some LFOs on these notes. Oof, yeah. So that really opens up so much cool sound design capability. Let's play with the. Looks like we've also got a pressure section too, which I'm not really. Slide. Wow, I'm not sure what that's doing. Slide is maybe that's like a global Yeah, let's make a new clip and just drop a note in there and play with slide by itself. So this is some other kind of form of expression. Gosh, I'm gonna have to invest in a Rolly keyboard or something that lets you have all of these kinds of things at your fingertips. So what I was reading is that those are some of the best controllers. And we can pin tool that in there. Sounds like wow, getting a cool B sound out of that. Awesome. So I guess it depends on, and it looks like we have this set up, maybe pressure is changing the shape there. Well, this at least will now give me an excuse to mess around with wavetable a lot more, which I've kind of avoided, but wow, with some of these awesome features that access these cool new features in Ableton 11, I'm all about that. Gosh, wish we could unlink these, but I suppose maybe down the road we'll have that option, who knows. Okay, so back to our original. Just sounding, you know, goofy and obnoxious. And we got a velocity section in here, and from what I was reading, let's see, do we turn off slide and pressure, and okay, to shut the whole thing off. So with velocity, I thought I was reading there was like a range we could set per note. I'm not sure if there's like a keyboard. Okay, so if we hold down Control, at least on PC, we get a range there. So there's the minimum and there the maximum up there. And I see it looks like velocity range. Very cool. So let's. Okay, release velocity. Yeah, that's a whole other thing I have not really messed with a whole lot. Now, I guess, okay, there's our chance. I was wondering when we were going to see some of that. Cool, so we can also edit I'm surprised we can't edit the chants in here. Unless I missed something. Slide, yeah, no, I guess it's, yeah, so maybe, well, this is still beta, so who knows, maybe they'll be fixing some things, so let's, very cool, yep, and there it is, just every now and then, awesome, gosh, wow, that's gonna be, that is huge, although, it's too bad the pin tool doesn't let you, okay, so that's interesting, maybe, I had selected something, so I guess unless you have unselected stuff, it's going to try to only draw on the one you've selected. Cool. I'm also now curious if our sampler will work. Let's try the simpler first. Ambient and evolving, always a good time there. Oh man, yeah, oof. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And already off the bat, this hybrid reverb just sounds just light years better than the old school reverb that's come with Ableton since version 1, I guess. Wow, this is you know, a sound designer's dream to have this kind of functionality. This is for each note to be kind of its own world. My mind is racing with so many possibilities, so much cool stuff, and I haven't even gotten to the follow action stuff yet, or most of the new effects. They really have, compared to 10, there's just so much more range of possibility with this DAW version. I see we've got a randomize in there, and I don't remember that being in the last one. That is cool. I guess is that also randomizing the? Can we? Yeah, maybe it's. I'm not sure what that. It looks like it's randomizing the chance. Maybe if I click on. Very nice, very nice. Velocity range. I guess it takes whatever you. We're gonna start to hear some really nutty sounding music, I think. Once this is released and in full use. So maybe we will, let's multiply these. Let's make them a lot longer so we get much slower progression of course, in this case, if the probability is too low and we don't hear sounds. Nice. I think we can, let's see, select all and just drag the whole thing up there. Let's make them all 80%. Wow, +5. Wow, that's so neat. I wonder if there's like a way to lock it to, because like obviously we can do all kinds of like micro in between, but can we lock it? Yes, Alt locks it to the single notes, so you can really dial it in. And this is super great. I have not been able to get these kinds of. I've dreamed about these kinds of effects, but they involved having multiple copies of, of an instrument and having to edit each one the same with pitch bends, MIDI pitch bend CC or whatever, and that's tedious. This makes it so much easier to pull off some of these really weird ideas. I'm just like sort of spitballing here. I'm not even really trying hard to produce something that meaningful, and I feel like it's already kind of interesting in terms of experimental stuff. Gosh, I really wish they had a reverse on this. That's one thing I noticed they don't have. Maybe a future version will let you reverse the. There's so many cool effects when you can reverse the convolution, or at least a way to drag this out, like you can the looper, and drop it in here and then do some further editing there and then drag it back in. That would be, but baby steps. Cool. So, we can combine this with, oh wow, it looks like we've got some more control here. Pressure, slide. So we can add some sweet curves this way. Cool. Let's see what we can latch onto here. Okay, I can't tell if I can map this because this is already green, but I don't think we can map any of these. Let's switch out this ambient swells with a wavetable. If I can just do this properly. Here's some arcade texture. Sounds fun. Oh, and here's our new rack with all our extra buttons. Something I have just been waiting for years, it seems. Let's just look in there. Oh, these are our presets, not our chains. So there's our chain. Cool, so we're getting that. And let's add another wavetable Oh yes, I remember one of the features I read about was our CPU, which looks like we are really pushing full on this particular, up to 20, yeah, and we've got these jumps also. Maybe just the current. It looks like we have some fun options here. Really dialing it in. Configure audio engine on. Well, it's starting to feel more like a real crazy, mature DAW. Of course, they still need a few features. From what I read, they haven't included some features that, you know, us composers for film would be really love to have, but really specific features, obviously. Most DAWs have, anyway. Okay, so that's cool that they have Max for Live devices now sort of integrated. And I'm really hoping that they have, I thought I read that they had overhauled the a lot in Max for Live so that things should run, or the interface should be smoother. So I don't know if we'll get any kind of gains there with CPU as far as mapping a lot of things from Ableton devices. Wow, I do like this Slurpy cave texture here. Let's try Dissenting Dreams. And I see we have an MPE section, so this may be where we have to set up some stuff, although it's just it's taken our individual notes slides or whatever and working with those. That's cool. Wow, kid in a candy store over here. I just like don't even know where to go from here. It's gonna take me a while to wrap my mind around this. Okay, so we've got a spectral resonator. That's a lot of fun. Maybe we will put that in here and pull audio over from modulators and chorus ensemble, phaser flanger. Yeah, these are some new additions. A lot more options here, it looks like. Transformative, this spectral resonator. Very nuts. It's going to take me a while to really understand this one in the fullest. I like that. We can really simplify some tones. Oh, lots of options here. I don't know what half of this stuff even means. Very spacey right off the bat, super sci-fi. It's going to be really useful for some, especially if I'm doing a sci-fi type of game. Yeah, I'm going to be using that stuff quite a bit. I noticed we lost some functionality in here. I don't see the multiply by 20 for our rate. And I'm not seeing that in the context menu. So that's, yeah, it makes me wonder what will happen if I load in something from a previous project. Like I know this one has some phasers in it. I don't see any kind of option to switch to the old school version. I wonder if we get the new, effect to replacing the old ones, or if how that's going to work out. Normally they've had like an upgrade button. Oh, interesting. So it looks like we keep our old effect here. Huh. I wonder, is there like a, and there's no upgrade button, so that's interesting. I guess old projects won't have any problems. Like, did they include that option to have the old ones? Because, I mean, at least with the chorus, I'm definitely going to want to have that kind of functionality, which I guess means, shoot, if I can't load in, I mean, maybe it's in here somewhere. Maybe in our effects section, let's see, we get the old chorus. I don't see it there or there. Yeah, no, okay, so, well, huh. Interesting. I guess we're gonna have to like just load in racks that contain the old effects and kind of use it from there. That'll be an interesting. It's not that big of a deal, honestly. So let's play with some of this. Oh my gosh. Kid in a candy store over here. That is so awesome. I was anticipating at some point they would add the allowance for more macro knobs, but I didn't see this random come in at all, or presets, which is going to be huge. I guess this is. Cool. There's our first preset ever. Super happy about that. Oh, we got a new button. I'm curious if we can group or control this with automation. It doesn't look like it. Let's see, what can we mini-map here? Well, heck, we can at least mini-map a random. So we could use our tried and true loop BE and pull this out of here and see if we alleviate some of this stress on our. Yeah, it looks like it's splitting up the CPU a little better, I think. Yeah, maybe we'll put the hybrid reverb over here and stretch the effects across multiple, because each track, as far as I've observed in Ableton, each track uses its own core. So let's pull this around across effects. Effects 2. We still get a lot here, so I'm not sure like what's going on there. Granted, these I noticed in the past the wavetable does take a lot of it uses a lot of juice. Certainly not that, so just sounding just over the top, a little over the top. Probably a lot to do with some of these this spectral. Do we at least maybe get some new waveforms? Wow, I don't even see a wave, the option to pick a waveform. It's only sine wave, which is, oh, never mind. I stand corrected. I thought it was crashing there for a second. Oh my gosh. So we got random, sample and hold, random, rectangle. So it looks like a triangle analog. Huh. So a couple of new waveforms. I wonder if our filter, auto filter, got a new wave. I mean, this one is to me looking about the same as before. Yeah, no special waves there. Any new filters? No. Although these are pretty decent, the OSR through the PRD. All pretty decent. Wow, my CPU, it's looking like just choke city there. So I wonder if I swap this out with a sampler, if we'll probably get much less use of CPU. I love the wavetable, but it seems like they need to optimize it probably. They just assume everyone's got the latest and greatest supercomputer, and you know, I'm into rocking some vintage processors myself, but that's just me. I'm just weird like that. So let's try to see if we can locate our digital sign. Well, let us load in these OGG files. Okay, well, at least that's cool. Cool. I see. Let's see, zones. This is the sampler. What about the, I wanna use the, let's keep it simple and use the simpler instead. Because my default already has this sine wave thing happening. Make sure and just drop this in here, just to make sure that we're using the file from our project and so no external files. Oh yeah, I mean, the difference is night and day. I think if you really want to use the wavetable, you know, you gotta really commit. Sorry about that. Wow, that was a yeah, really loud and proud. So yeah, if you want to use the wavetable, considering all the juice that it likes to suck out of your processor, you really gotta commit with that direction. I mean, this is sounding just nutty. It's it kind of reminds me of some of the stuff I was building with Reactor or Max for Live, where you just have a lot of oscillators in there, and they're all kind of moving at their own pitches and stuff. But here you get the control, which is super amazing. All right, let's get some effects automations going. Cool. Follow actions in automations. All about it. Okay, so I'm a little thrown off by this. Looks like we got an arrow here. Okay, follow actions. Let's do other. And just for experimental sake, I want to, let's see, let's turn the follow action off for this one. We can make, let's see, this one jump to, what's the number here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I guess we have the numbers here. We could just use that as a reference. So let's make this one jump to number 5. And I'll go ahead and make this jump to number 1. There we go. So let's see. Oh, we need to move this slider. This makes so much more sense than it did in the previous versions. Finally, they fixed that. So 18% of the time it's going to jump back to number 1, and with this one, we'll just say 50%, so we can experience this wonderful behavior. And I'm going to turn on this and just start moving this around. So now we are recording this into, I realize now I need to turn on legato so we don't get a lot of restarts. Wow, it is sounding dark and creepy. Gosh, I wish the chorus ensemble, they gave you all these shape options. That would be super sweet. I can't believe they got rid of the multiply your rate by 20, because with the old school version, that was really useful for creating some just deranged FM type, really nice FM type effects. All right, let's get some of this stuff going on here. I think I'm gonna, for the sake of cleaning things up just a little bit, move out this. We don't want this phaser section or this hiss section. We don't need that. Gosh, I really wish we could automate these presets. Maybe there's a way. I know we can select a number, I guess. Interesting. Let's make another preset. Default variation 1. Very cool. We'll call this, and then push the volume. And I guess we can push this button to save it. Yeah, that's nice that they have a little asterisk there. I really wish they would add asterisks when you added info text, because otherwise, you know, you don't know what has info text on it or what doesn't. I always just leave my info text on the master. Usually that's the most obvious route for me. Okay, cool. I see these jumping down here every now and then jumping back to here. That is beyond useful. That is so so we can have a whole different set of weirdness happening in different chunks of blocks, and every now and then they will just kind of skip around to different chunks. So each chunk of yeah, we could have some very significant differences. As you've seen from some of the previous sketches, you can, from one clip to the next, have a very dramatic difference of what's coming out of your instruments and your effects. Okay. So we've got this and this. Still can't add any automation. Gosh, it would be just fabulous if we could switch presets per clip or something like that, like using the program. And I assume there will be max relief patches that will be able to manipulate these kinds of effects, and I will be all over that as soon as that is first out. It is cool that we have some MIDI, although that's too bad that we can't select different specific ones with like a MIDI note. It's interesting that they let you overwrite a snort with MIDI, so we can kind of create using MIDI keyboard just like a bunch of different variations. Would be nice if they allowed certain ones to not be affected by random. But I assume that at some point that will be the case. It's baby steps, baby steps. I got to remind myself, you can't have everything all at once. You got to be happy with what you got right in front of you. It's hard being an artist and not thinking of all the possibilities and things you might want. All right, so we really lost a lot of volume. Maybe the spectral resonator was yeah, spectral resonator. What a mystery to me. And this is cool. It looks like we can control it from MIDI, so perhaps we can pull MIDI from our microtonals section. Looks like not perhaps, most definitely. digital sign, post effects. Yeah, we'll just do post effects for now. And MIDI, yeah. 16.8.4. I wonder if that looks like. Wow, I have no idea what's going on, but it's definitely sounding nutty. I guess if we drag this over here. Wow. It seems to be taking the pitches from our notes. Wow, that's too crazy. This is out of control right here. I do like, at least it feels like when I pull over, it doesn't just start deleting the next note over quite as, I don't know if they did any improvement to that, but it feels a lot better. Like I don't so easily just destroy the next bunch of dots. So let us try a random. So I guess this will transform our random notes. And it seems to allow all the sliding bending stuff through, which is pretty awesome. Cool. Let's get some follow actions on this. Oh, we also have follow actions on here, which is really cool new feature. I see what we got going. We got a tempo and a signature setup and a follow action. That's neat. I'm curious what'll happen here. We jump to other. Will it, I mean, unless we designate a bunch of follow actions, is it just gonna... Huh, okay, so it looks like it's... It looks like it's only jumping to the ones where there are clips kind of in connection with each other in a series. So I wonder if we do this, if it'll bridge the gap there. Yeah, it looks like it is now jumping, potentially jumping down lower. Does it go any lower than this though? I'm curious if... It might be that it's playing one of these clips that's then jumping. So I assume if we put this here, it will now consider this block to be the defining group. Oh, and it looks like everything stopped, I guess because we didn't have a follow action on that. Oh, and this linked feature is new, which is, I think, going to be really cool for some types of generative music. An idea that I was hearing in my head. Let's just pull in this random sound effect. And let's see if it will play, if we can define various like arbitrary lengths. And if the follow actions will respect those using this I think it's a linked feature. So let's see what we get here. Follow actions and other linked clip end. I guess, Yep. Okay, clip in is like default there. So let's push play on our. Doesn't want to jump to the next one in the series. So interesting. It seems like when I hit play on my scene, I'm not sure what happened there before when it's just stopped and didn't play. Oh, I see. It's playing these stop notes. Interesting. So at this point, it is just jumping to a bunch of different scenes, and so I guess unless you have other clips down here, that's an interesting behavior. It's going to take me a while to wrap my mind around that. So this one just only plays to the end of that. I like that. That is absolutely unbelievably useful. There were some Max for Live patches, I believe, Isotonic made. I think it was called Follow. Maybe it was just one patch, but I believe it was trying to do stuff like this, but I remember hearing that it was a bit clunky in how it performed some of this magic. So I'm really glad they have finally built something like this in, linked clip in. You could essentially have a whole bunch of samples and it would just, you could make a generative piece where it would play, you know, those sounds one to the next. I guess you might get some repeats in there. So with this other, I don't think I wish there was another like random once option, kind of like in the arpeggiator where it just picks a sort of, you know, takes into account all of the clips in a row and doesn't repeat any of them. It just sort of plays them in that shuffle order. So that's like pseudo random, I guess. But anyway, something to think about. There's probably another way to do this so that we can get that kind of non-repeat sound running with follow actions kind of option. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, cool. So all right, that is enough of that. Very awesome feature there. So let's I see. So we're losing our interesting. So is this set to, it's just set to play other than itself. So I guess it's really just going to jump to a random other another scene. So I wonder if, yeah, I guess if we set all of these scenes up maybe to play other, it will, of course, then it's going to play the stops on those. So I guess let's just remove all the stops at this point. So then at this point, it kind of doesn't even really matter that we have follow actions there. Okay, I'm gonna have to explore this a lot more to see what extra benefits we get over just pushing play and having our clips in here do all the follow actioning for us. Safe base. That's good. It's much better than dangerous base, honestly. Safe base. It's a good song title right there. Safe base. Let's turn these on to legato so that it doesn't restart every time it tries to play one of these clips over. Wow, this is, it's easy to go into like annoying siren land or bees or some kind of, so let's try dropping the LFO. Actually, no. I'm gonna play with that later. I think where we're getting a lot of our Bs and other annoying types of sound is from this spectral resonator. Cool. What does it all mean? So we don't need that one, and we've got these jumping from using this last 50% is going to jump to 5. I'm wondering if we add in a scene here, does it shift that number, or do we lose? Oh, nice. It automatically increments so that we don't lose our follow action jump spot. Very, very useful. Otherwise, wow, that would be really hard to keep things organized in here without having to go back and change the numbers on every single one of those. Love it. Okay. Now this one will probably sound better before the reverb. Sounds like we're getting a bit of distortion with these vintage settings. How about a limiter, just in case? And let's pull some audio from FX2 and dump it right back here. Let's go ahead and turn that down just in case. Too much distortion, maybe. Oh, that is intense. Cool, let's automate that. So we could, for example, have, at least in this section, this effect as set to on, and then in this section have it set to, well, the default can be off, so that only when it hits this section will it be on. And then we can have the chorus only on in this section and off by default in section 2. Obviously, it would be better to, you know, set up some of this before we make all our clips. Yeah, it sounds like our old tape effect is not needed for now, I guess. Where am I going? All right, so I wanted to, we have a dummy audio clip. We don't need that Fate Verb 1 wave. At least I kept those as wave files. And that works pretty well for, let's see. Definitely need to automate this. We have 212, let's we might be getting a lot of feedback at this point. So let's automate this here. I'm really curious now if they fixed the grittiness at all of the grain delay. I feel like I'm just kind of lost in all this. All these new icons are throwing me off. So I best pitch and modulation? No. Where would grain delay end up being stored? Delay maybe? Oh, it is called grain delay. Can't tell off the bat. Usually the vinyl distortion sound run through it is pretty the crackles. It sounds pretty lo-fi still. Well, that's okay. I guess I do kind of have a special place in my heart for that really lo-fi resonation or sampler reduction, I guess, is a better term. Oof, that vinyl crackle just on its own is just so disgusting to me. Let's play with the size of this. I wonder if we can map the size. It doesn't look like they're going to let us manipulate the convolution in real time. Sure is crackly, I tell you. Be nice if they could fix that. The only convolution reverb I've found that doesn't have those crackly digital effects that sounds really smooth is Native Instruments Reflector. And they created that for Guitar Rig. I can't remember if they released a standalone version of that. They should have. But it is so smooth. It's almost like they have two convolutions happening. So when you change a setting, it kind of like instigates another convolution version, and it sort of crossfades between the two. It's really super smooth. It doesn't have as many bells and whistles as I wish it had, but it is. Maybe they'll overhaul it at some point, but I wish this randomize would work for settings of devices. I feel like every device needs a little random button. My gosh, why have they not introduced that? Too weird, probably. They're probably, it's just too weird. Nobody wants that. I beg your pardon. Or I wish these presets would also save the settings of all the devices inside of a rack. Now that would be really, really uber useful. Because in my opinion, even with 16 total knobs, I mean, there's still so much nuance that, we could get out of being able to preset easily and recall easily all the different settings of an instrument. You could have like 10 different operator kick sounds just easily recalled with the preset functionality here. Gosh. One day, and they're like, those are features that nobody wants to use. Only weirdo sound designers. And I get it. Ableton's user base is, you know, basic producers who want to make techno and dance floor music or really basic beat oriented. I totally get it. No shame, no shame. All right, cool. So let's see. Now I kind of like want to drop in a beat. I guess I get a little bored of drones after a little while. Let's see, Idiom Obvious. That was a good one. Ah, this one, yeah. Let's turn off our melody. And there was another effect that I really wanted to mess around with. So new cool spectral time, that's the one. Now maybe we don't need the feedback in there after all, or I should probably just automate the mix. All right, back to the task at hand. Cool, sounds like the resolution does definitely affect the sound. This actually reminds me a lot of some Max for Live devices that I played with. Wow, I feel really quite clumsy with these new effects. Like I don't really know really what to do with them quite yet. Cool. So let's automate inside of. Let's make this legato first. They moved the legato. It's throwing me off. And the spectral time, I'm noticing it's definitely takes over. It has such a specific type of sound. I think it's going to be one that will take a special amount of understanding, I think, to make sounds that come out of it that don't just sound like super obvious. And maybe it's a matter of, like with the frequency shifter, it's a matter of either just real subtle settings or a lot of effects, you know, in this one kind of somewhere in the mix to just create that special magic. Yeah, very almost cartoony. Now, it could have a lot to do with the feedback on that. Got some cool stuff coming off of this this reverb over here. And this out for now. Stuff is going crazy over there. Let's see, drum buses, yeah, must be driving color, very good. Let's open up this beast. Get down in there. That's tough. How about a little modulation on the velocity? Cool. And some random on there, of course. This one in there and make it I guess since its length is 5, that's why it's taking these a bit longer. So maybe if we unlink them and we just set them as something shorter, we'll get a lot more variety in terms of the automations. So that's something to keep in mind when using the follow actions, is to I think to get more interesting ideas, you know, maybe pull it off of the linked, like we've done in the past. I mean, the linked feature is only new to this version, so I think we'll just have to keep that in mind. Which one to use when? Bass, kind of feeling like we're moving or turning this into something more percussion-like. And how about a spectral time? This might be a little too CPU costly to consider for such individual uses. The Redux, they also did some changes to. And it sounds immediately a lot better. Gosh. Not that this effect is really one that I like to use too much. It has a, you know, very obvious and overplayed type of sound, in my opinion. At least they gave it a dry wet. That's pretty nice. Like, I feel like all effects, they should have a little knob here you can just drag a dry wet. Just why, you know, why's it got to be so wishy-washy? Why can't all the effects just have a built-in randomizer and dry wet and a preset function for each one? Or at least, you know, have the presets of groups affect, you know, the knobs of everything inside. That would be super. I think I want to hear at this point the oh, I see. So wait, where did I put the spectral? It was on the bass, which we turned into a percussion. I want to hear this on the snare now. Cool. Definitely got to get some kind of a compressor on here with a sidechain from the beat section. Yeah, probably post effects because we're getting some pretty aggressive stuff coming out of this hybrid reverb. Shaper. Oh yeah, so some new Max for Live type stuff. Or these are all pretty basic stuff from the previous. They've just integrated them in to the rest of the effects. So I guess we'll see a lot more of that down the road. It's going to take me a while before I start to feel a lot more comfortable to use a whole lot of Max for Live stuff. I feel like I'm going to have to do a bunch of tests to learn to trust those, that they don't, you know, sometimes they just burn up your CPU really quick. Auto pan, where are we? Stereo, under utilities, stereo. Pitch and modulation, there we go. I am just a little lost in this new version. Very cool. So, let's see. Got my trusty VST2s. I know, I'm living in the past. I need to move on to VST3, it's true. But I love my old school plugins, I gotta say. Eventually I'll get there. I'll switch over at some point. I think if I really got into surround sound stuff, I would really embrace VST3. The new features are, you know, not so significantly improved that I want to make the full-on switch. There's definitely a few VST3 plugins I found that are not in VST2 format anymore, because apparently Steinberg does not give out licenses for anyone to make stuff with VST2 anymore, which is, it's sad that they haven't just made it open source. Kind of obnoxious over-controlling of totalitarian technology stuff. So annoying. So I'm gonna spam this random here. Yeah, it doesn't get weirder than some good old-fashioned transverb. It can be a little clicky, a little gritty in the. Oh, where's my audio? There's my audio effect track. Gosh, it's gonna take me a minute to finally get used to. I might just have to map them all into one of these so that they'll all show up, and it'll look a lot like the older version. One of the things I thought about when I was taking my little cut short sabbatical from this sketching thing is using a lot more plugins, and I want to figure out a way to make it so that these sketches are still openable and accessible to everyone, but you know, I want to still use a lot of plugins that, you know, may or may not be available on your system. Like this one is only in 32-bit. I don't even know if it's available on the KVR website anymore. I was using these back in 2003 and 4, and yeah, and I have to use jbridge to create a 64-bit proxy to be able to load the 64-bit version of these in Ableton. jbridge has worked pretty well for me, honestly. In some cases, it's actually made older plugins run better or more smoothly. In that also it runs plugins in a sort of sandbox type way, so if one goes down, it doesn't kill all of Ableton. So at least if you open this back up whenever you get Ableton 11, I guess you'll still be able to hear most of what we've done here, which, to be honest, without the plugins, isn't going to sound super great, in my opinion. I love this reverser effect, and it's so basic. It's so simple. The kilohertz reverser is actually the best one I've found. There's a good Max for Live one that we included here in the Max section. So I think I'm going to try to build out a lot of these sketches so that they kind of sound interesting before I start adding in a lot of VSTs. We'll see how far I get with that idea. So let's mute that for now. I want to work on this this tonal stuff a little bit. Let me we don't have a spectral resonator. There's some kind of almost sounds like a resonator is on. It may just be this. Yeah, I feel like it's just coming down to this feedback loop we got going on here. And let's try to dial back some of this hybrid reverb. Let's see, what are we getting here? So this is sidechaining from FX1, that's correct. And this is pulling audio from microtonal, so that sounds correct also. Okay, so I guess since I turned that down, it's where are you? Utilities, audio effects rack. Yeah, I want to that is very fascinating to me. I feel like when we turn the audition on now with the mix at 0, we don't get anything running through. Do we? Oh, that's because we have this EQ at work. Ah. Okay. That makes sense now. I thought maybe they had changed the functionality with this new version and it wasn't going to behave the same way. So I'm glad that's not the case. Let me go ahead and set the wet dry on this and move this into here. Awesome. And I want to play with some of these lengths here, which will make a significant difference in the tones that are going to come out of this simpler. As if the individual pitches on each note isn't weird enough. So I guess since we aren't really using much CPU here, I mean this layer is really just going nuts CPU-wise. Let's see if we can have a look at our cores and see what we got going on there. Probably one of them is going to look pretty hot. I mean, I assume that these are connected to these, but maybe it's different in how Ableton is showing us, you know. Maybe these aren't totally tuned and dialed in yet. So let's keep the default of this reverser effect off. And I always wondered why this hi-hat didn't work on this. So we're not getting any notes to play. Yeah, so I think our note division is messed up a little bit. Well, it shouldn't be the problem. I think it's actually in here. Hat gate, yeah, we're not getting anything out of the hi-hat gate. Turn this one off. There we go. I think we just have to fix this little section here. And let's close that, and let's see. It looks like our chance on that one is down. Yeah, we definitely didn't map this 100% correctly here. Looks like now we're getting sounds all over out of the whole thing, which is that's cool. I need to go back and fix this rack. I'm almost afraid to now drag in new racks. We might need to make a new folder that's called Racks 11 or something, so that people who load the older projects up can still also load up the older racks. Not sure how to handle that one. Just make sure. It looks like we're still getting some notes even when this is off. Still getting some snare in there. Okay. Mad circus vibes for sure. Turn down this melody section here. And it sounds like our our crazy DFX VST is also a bit over the top. So maybe I'll delete that and then we'll try to re-record. There we go, a little more conservative on that. Got some real expressive fits and starts happening in there. Well, overall, I'm super happy with this new version of Abe's. It is above and beyond in so many ways than Ableton 10 was versus 9. Definitely need some kind of stereo action on this melody, probably on the drum section in general. Thought I'd open this one up, but I guess I closed it. Let's shut some of this up. Wow, some crazy MIDI effects action. Yeah, this feedback loop here is definitely pretty nutty, and I think we can control it a bit with perhaps the frame delay pitch down. So, you know, it's definitely the kind of same little sort of fluty, high-end fluty notes. maybe that fluty note is actually not coming from the feedback loop. Maybe it's coming from our, I think our bass turned percussion. Yeah, okay. So this, I think Frank Zappa would be really proud of this kind of song. That's got to be it. Our resolution, whatever, all the way up. Yeah, this melody is needs some constraint of some kind. And perhaps a little bit of reverb on the whole. Transverb. Alright, what other kind of crazy nonsense? Let's see. We've got so many options here for effects. I think some of my favorite crazy spectral type effects are these freak show ones. I don't really want to mess with those just yet. The spectral ones are also a lot of fun. I have so many plugins that I feel like it's actually very difficult to figure out what to use. I think these tweakbenches are also really awesome. I don't know if these are still available somewhere online. I would hope so. But they have a little randomizer, which is interesting that they're one of the few plugin creators who actually included a button for randomizing, which is really super useful. Reactor is the only other one I can think of that has the option to, where you can have a knob for randomizing stuff. I'm sure there are others. Yes, stuff gets pretty crazy. In fact, I should ungroup this and pull in a... I should just use my auto hotkeys to pull things in. There we go. Much easier to find. Oh, hey. Apparently also the auto hotkeys open up a movie player. That's pretty odd. I'll have to look into that. So let's drop this in here. Wow, this is a very talkative, conversational sounding robot we've got created here. And let's map. It's too bad I still can't map, you know, down the levels. That would be really cool if I could. So we have to kind of do it one step at a time. I'm probably the only one that wants to do kind of crazy instrument and rack nesting like this. Alright, so we've got a few random options in there. Let's pull this past our... We've definitely got some fun stereo happening with this. Again, this is a 32-bit one, super old school. if you get a program like jbridge, you can convert any 32-bit ones, at least on PC. I don't think there's any way to do it. Sadly, no way to do it on OS X. It's kind of why I switched all my Macs over to using Windows, so I would have access to a lot of these old school plugins. There are some really powerful ones that sadly are just gonna go by the wayside over the years because of you know, operating systems kind of changing. And but luckily with Windows, you know, you can load in some old stuff pretty pretty well. I've been really happy with how a lot of really old plugins that I adore and love and use a lot still work to this day, magically. Granted, some of them did take a bit of special care. I mean, this one right here, Buzz, was one of the first audio programs I used back in the late 90s. It's actually a tracker, and it has a modular capability. Wow, I thought my computer was, or my audio was just messing up. It really glitches things out here. Yeah, I guess until we get this randomizing. Yeah, we need to randomize that a little more often so we don't get stuck on a crappy setting. That's the problem with full-blown random. You just never know when you're going to get something that just doesn't sound amazing. Oh, did we get a crash? It looks like we might have gotten a crash, or jbridge. Sometimes with some older plugins, jbridge, when you open it a second time, it does this where it hangs for a while, and then it'll finally snap out of it. And it's a setting inside of here, and jbridge has a whole lot of different settings, but there's one in particular that prevents this particular GUI problem. And sometimes it can take 30 seconds to 40 to 50 seconds, and it usually snaps out of it. And then I will, you know, change the setting, and then I don't have that problem ever again with that particular plugin. So my guess is that this is the case, and if not, I am just going to well, we'll just have to call it a day on this sketch, and we'll see. I'm just like, I'm curious. I'm hopeful. You know, when you get a crash like this, you always kind of wonder, is it gonna pull through? But so I guess anyway, without just sitting here talking over this whole thing, I'll pause it and we'll see if it actually ends up snapping out of it, and then we'll pick back up our sketch where we left off. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Okay, so we're back. I couldn't stand the thought of leaving it on a crash note, so I decided to pick back where we left off, and luckily everything recovered okay. I realized that the problem is with this plugin here, and I had to... Oh, well, I guess I spoke too soon. Okay, double crash. I think I get extra points somehow for that. So yeah, obviously some of these old school plugins are just, you know, a little funny. I'm not going to open that one up again. You should know better by now. Sometimes, you know, I have to do the same thing several times in a row before it finally sinks in. Before I finally figure it out. Cool. So yes, I figured I would just keep on rolling with this for a little bit. Maybe make this particular sketch last a couple of hours. You know, why not? We should do some marathons every now and then. Have ones that, you know, can go on for however long they need. You know, I don't think there should be any rules that say it needs to be some amount of time or another. let's see. I wanted to pull this thing in here, and this is something I'd set up for the Ableton bug team, which it seems as though the bug, so to speak, it does not exist in this the new Alive 11. I give it a shot. Let's pull some sound over from here so we can demonstrate this, or give it another test. And I realize sort of as I'm saying this, the stupidity of this particular undertaking. And but that's you know, that's the nature of this whole thing. We're being you know, more experimental with ourselves. Let's see. Whoops. Oh, hey, just hitting buttons. Hopefully I can undo that. There we go. Save that. That was a yeah, I accidentally hit the wrong key. Gosh, when it rains, it pours, and sometimes that goes for making mistakes also. So I wanted to name this, but I accidentally didn't hit the right. I'll do that often. I will think I hit Control R to rename it, but then I'll hit backspace to like remove the. And then I'll realize that I just deleted a bunch of stuff. Okay, so there's our beat. Yeah, I really wish we could have this cool FM stuff in the new chorus, but we'll just have to save this and the old phaser together. Let's go ahead and save. Speaking of saving, and pull in the audio effect, old tape effect. Yep, there's a phaser hiding out in this one, and I wanted to pull these apart. In there. Can you have enough phasers stacked? Probably not. Okay, cool. Whoops. That was a little funny. I meant to, yeah, okay, so I didn't put the phaser in the right spot. And again, that's really odd. I'm not sure why it's not letting me pull it out there. Okay, well, we're doing it right now. Okay, cool. So we're gonna group these. We're gonna call this pre-Ableton 11 chorus phaser. I'm really glad they give us the option to still use these at least, and I'll put this rack in our audio effects. And maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I want a new folder. Okay, all right. Alrighty then, we'll call this Racks 11, and we'll put this there. Okay, and there we'll make it audio effects. Cool, and we'll just start splitting everything out now, and eventually I think after everyone is definitely got Ableton, so maybe at the end of this year or so, I'll just merge everything and we'll keep it separated for a little bit, and maybe realize later on that this doesn't make sense to do, but for now we'll just do it this way. Cool. So now we can pull in these old school effects if we want, and I wanted to do some automating. Pull this away from the grid and same with this one. Away from the grid also. Let's go ahead and save. And I realize that now that I'm actually recording and filming this, I'm probably going to get my classic crash, even though I was doing some tests earlier and I was not getting that at all. So I was thinking, awesome, they had actually fixed it somewhere along the way. I do, in a lot of ways, like the old chorus better. You can get wilder sounds out of it. Yeah, so far, no crashes. I think Ableton 10, it definitely would have choked by now. I am playing with my trackball mouse to an extreme, just kind of abusing, you know. This thing I love about the trackball is you can angle your arm in there and just get some really crazy, you know, weird, wild movements. Awesome. We'll do the same thing with this. And with this one as well. Pull that in a little tighter. And let's go ahead and save this before we start destroying this thing as well, and just hope for the best. Maybe we'll get 3 crashes in this video. I really am just trying to see what is the most crashes that we can get. But it looks like Ableton 11 is being good to us, so yay. Happy about that improvement there. They also, I noticed, fixed a few other anomalies that I still get in Ableton 10, so I'm just super happy to be done with Ableton 10 at this point and ready to move on to better, greener, less buggy pastures. Very cool. Okay, let's turn that off and let's definitely automate that. Nice. Link this. Very cool. One idea that I have that I think I want to try and work out at some point is creating a little dice effect so that we can use to generate random numbers to make some decisions. It's always fun flipping a coin or rolling some dice if you got some, you know, turning the sketch process into a bit of a game. I find that kind of thing really fascinating sometimes. At least it creates an easy jumping off point. And so, you know, we could easily do that with a set of follow actions where you have a start one. And, you know, we could do something like, well, we've got, you know, let's say we've got a 6-sided die, and we could have the first one as our roll, and follow action that one to play any of the other ones. Basically like the start and pick a random one and stop on it follow action setup that we had done for our previous ones. You know, we could call it 1, 2, you know, down the line, and just set this one to play anything other than that, and just turn the follow actions off on these, and then boom. Okay, so 2. You know, it's like we could do something really silly where how many different effects am I allowed to use? Okay, cool, 5, and then I could choose another one. How many, you know, which effects down the line, you know, do I want? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we could do something like that and pick our effects that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know. And so maybe the next sketch I'll try that idea out. It's really kind of a silly idea, and most people probably think it's pointless, but I think it's kind of fun to let chance determine the challenge. So just something fun to think about for down the road. Gosh, I wish our phaser also had this ×20 rate. Because I do think that really just mangles the sound. And I never really liked the chorus, honestly, very much until I found that purpose of that little button and started to realize that, wow, on hi-hats and drums and different things, they can really add such a cool level of a layer of shine. Yeah, we got some whips cracking in here for sure. And our tweakbench, our buggy ass tweakbench is really causing some damage. Yeah, I kind of want to automate the on-off of this one so that it let's see if we can change our. Yeah, so the default is now set to off, and I'm curious when it jumps over to this section if we get the same. Well, we obviously don't have any automations over here, so I'm curious if it will keep our default when it jumps over to here, or if it will just keep the last state. So we're not getting much of a jump to this section, and that is, now that I'm thinking about it, because I only set one of the clips to have a follow action of jump. And this one is track 6, clip 6, I guess. Oh, nope, let's see. I think already one of these was set to jump back to 1. Or not. Looks like we haven't set. Okay, so yeah, this one is jump back to 1. And we'll set that as 50-50 that it might. And all of these we will set to jump to 6. 50-50. So we don't have any automation set in these, so I am really curious if it keeps our default of off. Cool, it looks like it is keeping the default of off. This clip turns that on immediately. So yeah, it looks like everything's behaving properly. Like I would think. Awesome, okay, cool. Now, let's group all these together. Call this crash notes. And I always try to think of a phrase, usually when coming up with sketches, something that either I've been thinking about, like some word I heard or phrase I heard somebody say, or something I read on the internet, or could be a phrase from a movie. Coming up with song titles, like interesting song titles that aren't just something boring, is it's an art form in and of itself, I think. Okay, so let's get this gate over here and pull from crash notes. And we'll set crash notes to be send only. And looks like we're getting crash notes, effects. Awesome. Let's kill all these. Gosh, I wish I could have this just off by default. Usually, well, I like to roll, but I think most people probably want them on. I'm probably the weird one out. Not probably. I'm almost positive that I'm the strange one of. Okay, so Ableton's doing its classic Ableton move there. And it could also be that my projects are running off of a thumb drive, so there might be something going on with that. All right, gosh, yeah, this whole new layout is I'm lost still a little bit, confused and frightened somewhat when I try to find my way around. Nothing makes sense. Yeah, let's get some of that on there. Just smear it around a little bit, some of that. Just lather it up with some spectral smear. Awesome. Unlingo loop. Let's, wow, I'm gonna have to redo all of my coordinates for my, auto hotkeys that automatically set up my automation loop links and whatnot. Very, very cool. I like some of the weird swishy, wishy, watery sounds that the spectral time is adding in there. It's almost like whispers from another dimension. Haven't even messed with the feedback. That's probably when things are going to start to sound a little wacky. Sometimes feedback on a pitched delay can be a little too goofy. I guess it depends on how and where it's used. Honestly, every effect I found that tends to sound goofy out of the box on the average can actually, in certain specific contexts, sound amazing and be just mind-bogglingly great. Certain effects like the frequency shifter, that's one of those that right out of the box tends to sound really obvious. Ring mods, bit depth reduction effects. Wow, even flangers and phasers can be a little too obvious right out of the box. But I guess that all comes down to someone, you know, someone's taste. I think it's good to keep an ear out for, you know, using sounds like presets that are too obvious. Now let's automate this here. And maybe we'll come to regret that later, but who knows? Yeah, wow, this all this automating this spectral time, it's just like a chitter chatter of alien bugs all having conversations with each other. Alright, one last drum bus for the road. I've said I'm going to end this sketch, you know, 3 or 4 times now probably, and but I always hear more, and I always at least want to try to do something different, something more. I like to try to at least end sketches on, you know, a half done note. Got some serious tail on that. Listen to the tail on that synth. Just want to say a quick thank you to everyone, to all 2 of you who actually watched these videos. No, thank you for putting up with my bad humor, the cheesy, you know, just terrible dad joke nonsense, and of course, you know, putting up with the bad production. The crashes, the constant crashes. The glitchy conversations. a brain that half works part of the time. All the fumblings, you know, it's like those sports tapes that were just like nothing but bloopers and fumbles. That's just all this is. It's one giant blooper fumble tape of experimental production. Awesome. Let's see what 3 notes up gives us. Yeah, it's like okay, I'm officially done self-defeating. That was a good little run there. The self-defeat run. I guess I've held these notes pretty long. Oh, I like that you can close that down. That's kind of nice. Give yourself some extra breathing room there. So what I really need to be doing here is pitching. I need to have this arpeggiator playing some notes for me so that our pitcher that the analog does not work with the microtonal note, nor the operator. I hope they update those to work, because gosh, these are some of my favorite instruments, and at least the samplers work, honestly, because you really can load in your own little waveforms into the simpler and sampler, but the analog just sounds really nice. Alright, let's... Very kitty cat meow. Cool. I think we need to, let's pull this up. And, wow, I think we got a new world record for ourselves anyway, for time spent on one of these sketches. Again, I think that this one is a unique case, and again, I think we'll just have to do some longer ones down the road, some marathons. Maybe you know, kind of do a 12-hour stretch. I think that's the longest YouTube lets you post a video. It would be really funny to try to do one of these for 12 hours. I can barely talk for an hour. I think if I was trying to do a 12-hour one, it would have to be one of these, like, most of the time I'm gonna not say anything, and yeah, probably have to pause it a bunch and like take a rest, you know, maybe make a 12 one over 12 days and just like keep this thing paused. And I guess there's all different ways to go about it. All right, I like our reverse tremolo thing we got going on here, although it is killing the volume overall. Let's go ahead and unmute that. This is not sounding too shabby. Alright, maybe the hybrid reverb in there with one of our homemade impulse, bounce, fade. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's see what this one does. Are we not allowed to drag this in there? Oh, how mean. So let's try this route. Pull it in and then drag it from it. Well, that's strange. I wonder why it won't let us. Maybe the swell? That is too strange. Why will it not let us? Ah, must be a bug, huh? It's the only thing I could think. Let's turn off the algorithm one and just use the combo. Definitely getting a lot of stuff out of the left side of my speaker, ear, I guess, phone. There we go. It's kind of sending it a little more to the if we can automate some of this stuff. Let's see, what do we got? Frequency. I mean, why shouldn't we? Yeah, of course we can. Well, this might be like a post reverb kind of EQ in there. This does make a nice kind of delay sound in a way. But it might be a little too much, too incessant, too repetitive. So, in that case, we will just have it fade in and out every now and then. Very cool. Resonator. What happens if we bust out one of these? Try to move the hall reverb here and see if it sounds any more interesting. I kind of like this wet dry thing slamming on and off to the beat a little bit. And I think I also like the hybrid reverb where it's at, with this spectral resonator kind of. Wow. So we're gonna get into some autechre territory pretty easily with some of these new effects, and then autechre is just gonna have to come up with some new ideas, I guess. Now everyone's gonna. It's like everyone sounds like them. A lot these days, so they got to reinvent the wheel. They're probably just going to go back to doing some real vanilla stuff, like some of their last albums. Really pretty stuff, honestly. I did really like a lot of the songs on, gosh, whatever they call those two that they released really close together. I'm a big fan of that kind of sound art. And a lot of their techniques are pretty similar to what I'm, you know, doing here. They're probably employing a whole lot more LFOs and envelopes and things like of that nature, because as far as I know, they're not working in Ableton with the automation loops and modulation loops like what I've got going on, but using those unlinked automation modulation loops, I find that I can get a similar sound, a very expressive and haphazardous, as you can hear here. Yeah, things get really weird and sound sculpture-y, I think, when you start really abusing the tempo of a set with all MIDI and effects, especially with a lot of things linked to the tempo. Yeah, let's do this trick again. Except I'm putting you on a. See if I double click on it. No, we don't get our free dummy clips. There we go. So LFO on the tempo. And how did we set this up last time? Max, MIDI. I should probably just save a setup with this. And we will make you random. We needed a second one for the actual tempo. There we go. Definitely don't want it to go very high. And I believe we can automate this. However, if you automate something really slow, it can really, I mean, let's try it. Let's actually, I do want to try to automate this really quick, just to see what we get. And I feel like it may be okay. It may be actually. So let's check. Oh, let me pull this off the grid a little bit first of all. It's like, okay, and automate this. And let's pull this one off the grid. So it looks like, I guess it is only going to go really slow if it does hit a really slow spot on here. So let's pull that down to 20. Yeah, so there'll just be a few slow spots. It's not a big deal. I think we kind of want that. I'm liking the sort of held notes that we're getting. And we could have different, you know, this could be crazy one. We could have some set. So this is actually a lot better than using the loop BE out like we've done before. Honestly, which is also a cool thing to do. I mean, if we wanted to randomize some of our racks, we could send out loop BE. Oh, that's cool. We've got a special MPE channel. Have to play with that at some point. We really need to get an MPE-enabled controller, like a Rolly keyboard or something. Something with a lot of expressive qualities. So MIDI CC1. And let's just try this craziness out. I want to pull in a rack that maybe has a lot of knobs tied up to it. It doesn't look like this one has any cool knobs tied up to it. Let's just hear what this sounds like. And let me get a decent slow tempo going here. Yeah, 30. That's cool. All right. really just everything sounds better in slow-mo, right? Okay, so let's map this to here, and then map that to here. Let's see, what else do we have going down the line? Let's map this time to here, and this to here, this to here. Whole other type of song. Call this one slow, and this one could be regular 1. Pardon me while I just jump around all over the map. Pull this one up to say 106. Yeah, we'll just say 106. And this was what, 30 BPM? Okay, so we got some cool stuff mapped there. Actually, definitely need to map this here. Wow, if we hit random here, I guess, well, maybe, yeah, we could have just mapped to that. I guess it doesn't matter at this point. And let's pull this up from 1 and this down to something a little tighter there, and map this to here. Map this to here. Awesome. Well, let's undo some of that and redo. Okay, so let's make a before we start hitting the random button. Let's make a new, and we'll call this default. Cool. And then save that, and then let's make a new one, variation 1. Yay. Okay, now we're gonna map to, let's see, rack random map. Getting the CC1 out, channel 1. Now, okay, let's turn on our, click on our random button there. And it looks like we got a mapping going on. So every time we get a CC1 popping out of there, which we could also use our LFO. Got this MIDI LFO. So let's turn on this, and we'll just use the random. Curious what this will do, and make sure we've got it set the CC1 out. And turn on the button, and let's see what we get. Should randomize every now and then. Oh, yeah. Jeez. So I guess. Wow. We don't have any smooth set. That's really interesting. It is sending out like a lot of extra stuff that is causing that button to go crazy. Maybe that is what you want. Who knows? I honestly think it sounds a little too nutty. So maybe we'll stick to our a drawn-in MIDI CC1. Awesome. Let's pull this over here. And maybe we should put this effect into another wet dry, because I feel like it could use a little mostly off, or 50-50 at least. Cool, and this will be affected by the tempo. So we've got these now kind of going to the beat, because we have this loop here that is essentially linked to the beat. I mean, we could unlink it and make it slightly off the beat, but still attached to the 16th note. could pull this in here also and map some of these further inside of here. So let's give that a shot. Let's just go ahead and get our sweet 16 there. And oh, I needed to do it on that level. I see. Cool. So let's or no. We've got this one randomizing. And then so let's map. Let me close some of this down. Okay, yeah, I didn't want to open all that up, but okay. So let's map. I see. So we need to have this right in here for that to work. I see. Okay, so let's map this onto here. And then freeze. Let's get some of that going. And let's map that dry wet also. Heck, we got a couple more knobs. We can might as well just map it all. Well, now that is a lot of fun right there. I'll be keeping an eye out for a Max for Life patch that will auto-random this kind of thing. I assume we'll be able to do that. Yes, and we can automate this to be on and off every now and then. Alright, so this is officially how you get really crazy with it. And but luckily nobody's gonna get hurt. You can be as crazy and nuts with all this stuff as you want, and you know, the worst thing that might happen is you'll crash Ableton. As you've seen me do so royally. Cool, and it looks like now we've got these recorded in, and I think what it is it might be our something was recorded in. I'm not really sure what now is, and you never know until you like look in there and you try to track it down. It could be all of these notes are getting randomized with this. Okay, that is interesting, and good to know that that is a thing that might happen. And we could always just try and, you know, remove all those. But so down the road, I guess, yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye out for. At some point, I'll have to introduce a Max for Life patch that I created that lets you map to, well, right now it's set up to map to 8 different, I'm going to expand it to do 16 for Live 11, but it lets you, when you send a MIDI note to it, and I've also got a version that when you send, like, it has a volume threshold, so your beats can cause the trigger, but it basically causes a random parameter for each of the 8 knobs that I've got in there, and you can map those to anything you want in Ableton. And there's smoothers on those, so that every time you get the MIDI note or the kick drum, say, coming in, you'll get like a smooth transition between different random spots. So it's super useful for, like, if you wanted to just add a bunch of randomness to here, but have it controlled elsewhere by a beat or something like that. So I'm seeing immediate opportunity for that patch that I built to be useful for something like this. All right, so yeah, we have gone quite long on this sketch, but that is okay. Some sketches are just going to take longer than others, and frankly, I have only half know what I'm doing here in Ableton 11, and still trying to figure my way around some of the new corners of this GUI. So, but I'm ready to call it on this one, and yeah, until next time, happy sketching.
Mm-hmm.